Welcome back, everybody. So, I know I sprayed these like a year ago. It's been a while, but I finally got around to trying an airbrush for the first time. So that's what today's video is about. I'm not going to call this a tutorial, not by a long shot. It's my first time ever using an airbrush. If you guys have followed the channel for a little bit, you know I'm a professional painter. These are what I'm used to. This is new to me. Yeah, let's get to it. This was a very spur-of-the-moment project, so I didn't actually have any of my normal air tools and stuff at home. So instead of using my DEA with 600 on this, I just used a red Scotch pad as a sort of a makeshift interface pad, which does the trick. And then I ended up taking a small block of wood as a sanding block just to knock down some ridges. There was a bit of built-up clear around those edges there that the Scotch pad wasn't knocking down and would have looked ugly if I just painted over it with the airbrush. And then to finish things off, just the usual Scotch pad around those edges just to keep them burning through and to scuff everything nice and evenly. And to finish her off there, we're just going to use some solvent-based cleaner. I had blown it off at this point as well with the compressor. And as you can see, wearing gloves, don't get solvents on your hands. Not good for you in the long run. So this may be my first time doing like airbrush style work. However, I'm very familiar with prepping. As you can see, there are no glossy spots. Let's see if I can get a better angle with the lights here. I don't know if you can catch it, but the whole surface is dull now with the 600, and then going over with the red Scotch, no little glossy spots or anything like that, completely dull. And that's what you want anytime you're prepping for really any kind of paint. You don't want any glossy areas left over. Everything's got to be dull, otherwise your paint is going to peel. All right, let's have some fun with some masking. So the taping is something I'm also quite familiar with. It's not something that was new to me going into this. I'm a huge fan of FBS tapes. I prefer their blue stuff here. I run it in the 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch, and 1/16 inch. It's only the 1/8 inch and 16th inch I was using in today's video. Yeah, I find it's a good combination of being able to pull it nice and straight, do decent curves. I've used the red stuff before. I don't mind it. It's a little more flexible, but I found for doing longer straight lines, it was a little more challenging. Yeah, for a lot of the products today, huge shout out to Maple Airbrush Supplies. They carry these. They're here in Edmonton, and they do ship, I think, Canada-wide. So be sure to check them out. I'll throw a link to their company down in the description. I'm definitely not sponsored by this. I pay for all my own stuff, but again, just super awesome company to go with. Well, guys, having never used an airbrush before, I think that went pretty smoothly. I'm happy with how everything turned out. No lines are too wonky anyway. It's pretty consistent across the board. I was going to call it quits here and come back tomorrow, but you know what? It's late, but let's keep going. It's about midnight right now, but gonna try a couple effects here. I do have some candy we're gonna put on this, but first I'm gonna try to do some water droplet effect, and let's see how it works. So I wasn't really thinking when I started the water drop effect how long it was going to actually take that to dry. It's a little chilly in here. I actually got the little propane heater going and that little guy up there, and it's still a little chilly out here. So I tried hitting it with my heat gun to dry things off, but wasn't really working. So I ended up just dabbing individually. You can see the dots are still kind of there. But I got another idea for something we're going to try there to fix that. But yeah, let's spray some candy. It's 1:30 in the morning. Couple things. Overall, honestly, I'm pretty happy with it. It looks super cool as soon as I started unmasking it, seeing those nice crisp lines. Like, honestly, there's like next no bleed through. I was super impressed. The airbrush laid down the paint quite nicely. I was struggling with the candy for sure. Like, I noticed it was coming out thicker, thinner. That could have been the way I was reducing it. I'm not 100% sure there, but the color of candy was also not helping me. Like, you can barely see my starburst pattern there. Could have been the way I was spraying it too. Obviously, I need some practice, but for my first attempt at everything, pretty cool. There, you can kind of see the starburst. Honestly, I'm not sure. Once I put clear on it, who knows, maybe that'll pop. We'll see. I'm going to clear this on Monday morning at work before we get fired up for the day. And then I'll show you guys afterwards, obviously. And then, like, my fish scales here too. Like, you can kind of catch them there. I don't know if that's going to pop with clear, but even if it doesn't, honestly, I'm pretty happy with that. Looks pretty cool. And to finish off here, I added 3 coats of Durafil C9500 Clear. That 3 coats is going to give me lots to cut down if I decide I want to cut and polish this to get rid of the texture. Because as you can see, there are some minor texture lines where my masking was. Or I could also cut it down and add more graphics to it, more colors if I want to change things up a little bit. I was initially planning to do like a neon green stripe for this middle stripe here, but we'll see. As it stands right now, I'm pretty stoked with how this turned out. It might just go on the wall as it is, or I might play with it some more. Let's have a real quick chat about the issues I ran into. Big one was the candy not being as opaque as I expected, which we already went over. Can't really see the patterns I did. But where I tried to do the water droplet effect, as you can see, actually it's sort of hard to pick up on camera here, but the black almost looks a little washed out in this area just because there is that that white that I sort of dusted over everything. So in that one area from about here to here, it is a little, like, it just looks a little washed out. Not horrible, but yeah, you know what? I'm happy, guys. That was a super fun little project. I'm excited to do more. Now that I've actually dipped my toes in with the airbrush, it's not so scary anymore. It's more familiar anyway, so it's definitely something I'm going to be picking up more in the near future here. I got that other deck that I've done. I've got a SATA mini hood that I need to flake up, and my wife wants me to make a mug for her with some fancy graphics. So I'll definitely be getting you guys some more content on this style of painting in the near future here, because it's a blast and it's something that I've been wanting to do for quite a while. And now that I've dipped my toes, I'm hooked for sure. My background, I'm a professional painter. I paint I started automotive collision, and I now work heavy duty. I paint big semis and trucks, so painting is not anything new to me. This is one of my daily guns. That's my clear coat gun. And then this is the airbrush, a Neo for Iwata. I purchased like 3 years ago, and again, finally just got around to using it for the first time. As far as the actual spraying goes, kind of similar. With like a normal paint gun, you've got your air, and then you hit a wall, and then you have your fluid, so you can feather your fluid, add just a little bit, or you can go full fluid, depending on what you're spraying, how you're spraying. Different applications require different techniques. And it's sort of similar with the airbrush. So you have your air pressures like that, and then you just draw back, and that's your fluid. So kind of similar, kind of not, but that aspect was pretty comfortable just to pick up and go with. And aside from the clear coat, all the paint that I used in today's video was Createx, and this is also from Maple Airbrush Supplies. Huge shout out to Donna there for telling me what products to use and mostly how to use them. Again, a lot of this is getting the feel for it though. So for the solid colors, I used the Wicked Black, and then you'll see I did try using some of the white as well to try to dust in some water droplets, but that did not work for me in this video anyway. And then we got our 4011 reducer, and then I grabbed the Candy 2.0 or 2.0 and the balancing clear for that. So I expected it to be a bit of a deeper green. I know with candies they're always going to be a little less opaque than you expect, but I expect a little darker. And I think one of my issues, I posted to a couple groups online, and someone mentioned that it could be because I added the balancing clear and the 4011 reducer. If anyone's familiar with Createx, be sure to comment on that, whether that's the way you do it or not. Yeah, I was definitely expecting it to be a little more green. Like, you can't really see the fish scales in that section right there, or really the sunburst in here. You can, if you look really hard and try to imagine it, you can kind of see it. But yeah, I expected the color to be a little more, or a little less translucent. But you know what? That's part of the fun. I'm still figuring out this custom stuff, and I had a blast doing this board. So yeah, next one. We'll see what happens. So yeah, that's what I use for products for my airbrush. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I had a ton of fun doing this, and I'm glad I was able to bring you along for the ride. If you guys want to see more stuff like this, I'm definitely going to be doing more in the future here. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.